Hello, friends. Go ahead and turn this down a little. I see I have some people out there. I am just trying to live stream vertically to YouTube today. I have about 15 minutes to maybe answer some questions, talk about AI, see what everybody's thinking about today. So if you have any questions you'd like to get answered, go ahead and pop them in the chat. If not, I'm just going to ramble on for a few minutes because I have 15 minutes to just chat. So let's see. Let me get this over here, then I can see you guys. Hello. Hey, I'm glad you're back. Yes, I haven't saw you in a while. Yeah, so it's been a minute. I'm actually working on a full course for Java developers who are looking to build generative AI applications. So that has been keeping me really busy. I thought it was going to be a 2 to 4 hour course. We're getting in the 6 to 8 hour range. I'm going to cut it down a little, but that's what I've been working on and traveling. May was a big travel month for me. So yeah, I just want to go ahead and chat about a few things today while we have some time. Let's see if we can't get this to align properly on short form. All right, that looks a little better. All right, so first question, what is the future of development with Java versus Python? So this is a great question, especially when it comes to AI and building generative AI applications. One thing I've been doing a lot lately over the last years traveling is talking to teams and really kind of doubling down on like, okay, there are two sides to at least AI that we know it is generative AI, right? Now let me turn this down even more so we don't hear that. And that is, you know, for the longest time, and the longest time, I mean, AI goes back to the 40s, but, you know, for the last few years, we're mainly working in generative AI as consumers of these large language models. There's a side of this that is building the large language models, fine-tuning them, the machine learning, the deep learning, the data science part of this has largely been in Python, and for great reason. There's a lot of really great tools and frameworks to support that in the Python ecospace. And so when you're working in that world, Python makes a lot of sense. Now, other languages are making strides in that area, but still mainly a Python thing. But now we have all these large language models that are out there for consumption. You can hit it via a REST API. There are lots of great frameworks in different languages, especially like Java with Spring AI, and even LangChain for J. So two great frameworks in the Java space for that. And so we are all now just kind of consumers of the large language models. And so I think any language you're in that you could find great tooling and frameworks around is a good place to be. And I think in Java, we are in a really good place, not only because of the tools and frameworks in the space right now, but we know as Java developers, we are in the enterprise. 90% of, say, top for Fortune 500 companies all run on Java. There's some really great numbers on there, but Java is deep in the enterprise. And so it makes a lot of sense that we're using AI in that space. It's cool. Will the course be free or paid? It will be free, of course. We are going to launch this on YouTube. So this will be on YouTube very soon. Maybe even the end of this week if I can really get through some editing tonight. We'll see. We're getting there. Getting close. Next question. What will it take to become Dan? What will it take to become Dan? I'm not sure I understand your question. Like to become me? You don't want to be me. Be you. Your RAG videos help me a lot. I appreciate it. Joe says, good. Good. Cool, yeah. So if you have some questions, let me know. If not, just kind of hanging out here. Trying this vertical video. I didn't realize that you could do live streams to YouTube Shorts. So live streams show up in the YouTube Shorts feed. It's just a way for me to kind of get, again, I've been so busy with this course, kind of get back into YouTube. So I'm starting with some live streams. I'm just going to pop on here and chat about whatever anybody wants to chat about. And I think that's a good way to kind of do something with less preparation. I don't think people realize what it takes to, I mean, I say this a lot, but what it takes to create, a 10-minute tutorial on YouTube. It's a lot. And when I've been doing it a while, so there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm getting back to that. As soon as this entire course is out, I'm going to be taking a vacation, but then I have a lot of ideas on kind of getting back to normal posting of tutorials. So just trying this out as another means to kind of getting some content out there. To get expertise and reach high in the industry. So yeah, if this is something that you want to do, if you want to be a developer, an engineer, developer advocate, whatever in this industry that you want to do, it does take time. I've been doing this 24 years. I have put a lot of work into this. In my early 20s, I didn't go to like a 4-year school or anything. I went to a 2-year technical college, taught a lot on my own, learned a lot from others, and grinded. For the first part of your career, it is just grinding and learning as much as you can. Also learning with intent, deliberate skill acquisition, I like to say, because there are so many shiny new objects out there. Like, you can go learn this and that, but like, you've got to have a goal. Like, where do you want to get to? If you want to get to, say, a senior engineer at Netflix, kind of work backwards from that. What does it take to get there? Talk to some senior engineers at Netflix and see what they did in their career. So just a lot of persistence and hard work. I didn't think this younger in my career, but you really can do anything if you put your mind to it and have a goal and work towards that goal. Which LLM is best for generating unit test cases for Java? So it's a good question. I have, for the longest time, used Claude for a lot of my coding. So specifically now, Claude Sonnet 4 is what I'm using. I will say Google Gemini 2.5 Pro is really good. I will say there are a couple models from OpenAI that are really good. This is something you should test out on your own. But the other thing with this is you can't just say, generate me a test case for this class, right? Most of the time, you're working with these classes in your organization. So maybe you have a style and a coding preference that your organization adheres to. So the best case in that is what we call being able to not just zero shot, just write me a test case, is to one shot or few shot. And this is where you give it examples. You could say, here's a domain class, here's a controller class, here are some tests that we wrote for widget A. So now I'm giving it examples. In that same style, I would like you to write me some test cases for widget B, this domain class, this controller. So I think that's the best when you can give it examples of something you're already doing, that's something that your team has kind of approved, that is a good place to start. Let me see here. Sorry. What superhero Java would be, and what would be the other languages, for example, .NET, Python, PHP, Go, Rails? I had some very big preferences early in my career. I have a preference now. Like, I'm big into Java and Spring, even if I wasn't being paid to go out and advocate for those things. But with that said, any language that you choose to go with that solves the problem that you're trying to work on is a great language. There are really great ecosystems out there. Python, .NET, PHP, Go, Rails, Rust. What are you trying to build today? I think is really up to you. And I tell young developers all the time, and not young in age, young in career. So whenever you're getting into this, try a few different languages and see kind of what sticks. And that's a really good place to get started with. Sir, I'm really confused with what and when to learn in Spring Boot. I want to learn Spring AI, but there's more things left in Spring microservices, but my mind is AI is always there. Right. So Spring, like some other frameworks out there, but in the Java space, Spring is really massive. It solves a whole bunch of problems. And so what you need to focus in on is what problems are you trying to solve? So when I try to talk to somebody about learning Spring, you got to learn the fundamentals. Like Spring is a dependency injection and version of control framework. Learn the basics of like that first. Like what are those things and how do they work? And then focus in on building one thing. Like, hey, I want to build a REST API. There's a path that you can take to learn that, right? Then once we learn the fundamentals of Spring, it's all about different verticals, right? Some integrations. So now I want to talk to a database. So we have projects out there in the ecosystem like Spring Data. And this just makes working with databases a lot easier. If you want to work with microservice or building applications for the cloud, we have Spring Cloud. This solves a lot of the problems that you'll run into as you're developing applications for the cloud. So there's different projects that kind of fit into these verticals. And AI is just another one of those. It's now solving an integration piece for AI. So once you learn the fundamentals, you can start to stack all these on here. Don't try and think of it learning all of Spring, because I'm still learning all of Spring. It'll take you a while. So hope that answers. I have to build a text-to-SQL generator. What would be better to train a local LLM according to my schema, or integrate MCP to my DB and RAG, which will have my DB schema? All right, so let's think about this. I have to build a text-to-SQL generator. So I'm guessing that you're trying to take, like, is it text, like I'm typing something in, so natural language? Like I would like the first name and the last name from a customer. So it takes that natural language and tries to generate some SQL from that. Would it be better to train a local LLM according to my schema, or integrate an MCP to my DB and RAG, which will already have my DB? That's a good question. I haven't done a ton of work on refining like training an LLM, so I haven't done a lot of work on that. That sounds like it'd probably be the best bet, again, because the problem with using these frontier models is you don't want to train them, you don't want to send all your proprietary data to it, so like having a local LLM might be the best bet for that. And if you give it enough context, like here's my schema, here's a bunch of the different types of queries people might be asking and how that maps to that schema, that sounds like a good approach, but I don't have a lot of experience with that, so I'm not sure I can answer that. For that, how to integrate it now. I'm not sure the question on that, Duraga. Dan, can you make a series on OOAD in your style? What is OOAD? I'm not sure what that is. If you could tell me that, let me know. Hi, Dan. How to become an expert in Spring Boot like you very quickly. I'm working in MNC for 2 years in Spring Boot. Well, first off, I don't know that you could become an expert in anything quickly and define quickly. People have different ideas of what quickly is. Just a lot of work. And again, I think I mentioned this earlier, but kind of staying narrowly focused. Spring can do so many things. If you try to learn all of Spring and become an expert in all of Spring, it's going to take a long time. I don't consider myself an expert in all of Spring. And even when you go talk to some of the experts, like if I would talk to my friend Daniel Garnier, that guy knows more than anybody I know about security and Spring, right? I'm just guessing this, but maybe I'm wrong. But maybe Daniel doesn't have expert knowledge in say something like Spring Data. He's really smart, so maybe he does. But usually when you become a really good expert in like one thing, you kind of have breadth of knowledge on other things. So I would say focus in on what you're trying to get really good at. Like, hey, I'm building web applications in Spring. That you can kind of narrow in and focus on. Or I want to learn Spring AI. I want to become an expert in that. You can focus on that. So really it's about having a plan. Like, what are you trying to be an expert in? What does it look like in 2 to 3 years? Like, how do you get to that point and kind of work your way backwards from that? Please make a series on OAD in your style, object-oriented analysis, and design. Gotcha. Okay, I'll add that to my list of suggestions. Cool. Yeah, so my friend's just hanging out. Thank you. I just wanted to do a quick test on this today, trying to get my vertical videos into like the shorts feed. I want to do a bunch more of these, and I'm going to come prepared with some more things to talk about. I have so many things to talk about in the AI space, and I would love to chat with you about them and chat with you about them more. So hopefully we'll do that. So I'm sorry I got to cut this short, but hopefully we can do this again soon. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me and help me test this out, friends. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for that, and we'll see you maybe later.